If this book has found you, do not dismiss it as chance. You were chosen long before this moment. Within the choice of divine lies a truth the universe reveals only to a few, at the exact moment they are ready to receive it. As you listen, a quiet recognition may arise, as if you were always meant to find this. The choice of divine. Introduction. Beneath the surface of your awareness, where silence hums with unseen knowing, a forgotten truth stirs, ancient, eternal, and patient. It has echoed through lifetimes, carried on the breath of existence itself, waiting for the moment you would be still enough to hear it again. What you are about to remember is not merely an idea, but a sacred current, the hidden rhythm behind the book in the depths of your being. There is a subtle language woven into the fabric of reality, a quiet conversation between you and the infinite. Every thought you cradle, every emotion you allow to bloom, becomes a signal, an offering cast into the unseen. And from that vast mystery, life responds. Not randomly, not cruelly, but with perfect resonance, shaping your outer world in the image of your inner one. The force you seek has never been distant. It moves through you as naturally as breath, as constant as the turning of stars. You are not learning something new. You are remembering something ancient. Like a drop awakening to its oceanic nature, you are beginning to sense that you have never been separate from the source that creates all things. That you have arrived here now is no coincidence. There is an intelligence at play, subtle, precise, and deeply attuned to your becoming. The longings that stirred within you, the questions that would not rest, were gentle summons, guiding you toward this very moment of recognition. As you move deeper into these words, a quiet realization will unfold. Nothing in your life has been without meaning. Every joy, every challenge, every turning point has mirrored something within you. The unseen law that governs this reflection does so flawlessly, echoing your dominant state back to you in form and experience. What you are encountering is not knowledge to be acquired, but truth to be remembered. You are both the dreamer and the dream, the artist and the canvas. With every belief you hold, you shape the patterns of your existence, and the universe, vast, responsive, and alive, meets you there, ready to reflect whatever you dare to become. This wisdom has traveled across ages, hidden in plain sight, waiting, not for the world, but for you. Before we get into the book, comment, "I am ready," to affirm your intention to the universe. Part 1. The Awakening of the Chosen Heart. Chapter 1. The Whisper That Called You. In the depths of slumber, Lila found herself drawn to a luminous thread, its golden light piercing the darkness like a celestial beacon. The thread danced before her, neither solid nor ethereal, beckoning her forward. As she reached toward it, she felt herself moving, or perhaps the universe moved through her, following this divine invitation into mystery. That magnetic pull you feel within your chest, that whispered longing that keeps you awake in sacred hours, it is not mere restlessness. It is the universe extending its hand, inviting you to dance. The golden thread of curiosity that tugs at your consciousness is the same force that moves planets in their orbits and causes flowers to turn their faces toward the sun. In a small village lived a gardener named Camden, whose flowers bloomed with an otherworldly beauty. Those who passed his garden would pause, struck by the vitality that seemed to radiate from each petal. Camden's secret lay not in his techniques, but in his relationship with his garden. Each morning he would kneel beside his seedlings and speak to them as if addressing ancient spirits. "You are beauty itself," he would whisper to unopened buds. "You are strength emerging from earth's wisdom." His words carried the weight of absolute conviction, and the garden responded to this devotion with extraordinary abundance. Just as Camden's garden flourished under the nurturing power of his words, your reality shapes itself around the seeds of your spoken truth. Each word you utter is a vibration that ripples through the fabric of existence. When you speak gratitude before evidence appears, you are not engaging in wishful thinking. You are participating in the ancient art of creation itself. The universe does not require proof before responding to your energy. It matches your frequency with precise reciprocity, bringing into form what you hold as truth in your heart. Practice. Greet each morning with gentle whispers of possibility. Before your feet touch the floor, before doubt can cloud your mind, speak words of kindness to the day unfolding. Tell it of the joy you expect to find, the grace you know exists. Make this your ritual, to seed the hours ahead with the tender language of faith. As you maintain this practice, watch as the world begins to echo back the very blessings you have spoken into being. Chapter 2. The Mirror of Desire. In the heart of an ancient city, where cobblestone streets gathered puddles like mirrors, a young woman named Ellie stood transfixed by her reflection. With each drop that disturbed the water's surface, her image fragmented and twisted, creating a dance of distortion that matched her turbulent thoughts. Yet in that moment when she smiled, a genuine expression born of some inner light, the water seemed to still, offering back a crystal-clear reflection. This simple truth echoes through the chambers of your own experience. The desires that stir within you are not random impulses or selfish wishes. They are sacred messages, whispered by the universe itself. Each longing represents a seed of potential, planted by divine wisdom in the fertile soil of your consciousness. When you approach your desires with fear, doubt, or a sense of unworthiness, you create ripples that distort the very reflection of what you seek to manifest. Like Ellie's troubled waters, your vision becomes unclear, fragmented by the turbulence of anxiety and lack. But when you smile into your desires, when you embrace them with joy and trust, the waters still, and clarity emerges. In the quiet corners of time, there lived an old clockmaker named Henry. His workshop hummed with the synchronized heartbeats of countless timepieces, each one singing its own song of purpose. To his young apprentice, he shared a wisdom passed down through generations. Every tick must know its purpose, or time will lose its rhythm. His words carried a truth that transcends the mechanical world. When your desires align with your deepest purpose, the universe moves in perfect synchronicity with your intentions. The great law responds not to the words you speak, but to the vibration you emanate. It measures the frequency of your expectancy, not the volume of your requests. When your heart beats in harmony with joy rather than fear, when your desires flow from abundance rather than scarcity, you become a clear channel for manifestation. Ancient practice. As the sun sets today, Find a quiet moment to observe one desire that lives within your heart. Hold it gently, as you would a precious flower, without judgment or anxiety. Feel its natural warmth, its inherent rightness. Notice how your body responds when you release the weight of worry and allow trust to fill that space instead. Watch as the world around you begins to mirror the stillness you have found within. Chapter 3. The Language of Light. In the soft light of dawn, Clara rose each morning to paint the awakening sky. Her brushes moved in gentle conversation with the canvas, each stroke a whispered exchange between artist and atmosphere. "The blues speak to me as friends," she would say, mixing cerulean with white until it matched the exact shade of possibility she witnessed above. Each color carries its own song, its own wisdom. The universe operates on this same principle of resonance and reflection. Your thoughts paint the canvas of your experience with hues of expectation, belief, and intention. When you enter each moment carrying thoughts that shimmer with hope, the world cannot help but mirror that luminescence back to you. Like Clara's communion with color, your consciousness engages in constant dialogue with the infinite field of potential that surrounds you. Think of your mind as a palette, each thought a distinct shade that blends into the masterpiece of your reality. Dark thoughts cast shadows across your path, while those filled with light illuminate opportunities you might never have noticed. This is not mere metaphor. It is the fundamental operation of universal law. The frequency of your thinking determines the frequency of your experience. In a small village, there lived a baker named Milo, who understood this truth without ever speaking it aloud. Each morning, as he shaped his bread, he would whisper blessings into the dough. "May you bring strength," he would murmur to the hearty whole-grain loaves. "May you offer comfort," he would breathe into the soft white rolls. Those who entered his shop often remarked that his bread carried something special, a warmth that lingered long after the last crumb was gone. What Milo knew, perhaps without knowing he knew it, was that intention infuses everything. His loving thoughts became ingredients as real as flour and yeast, transforming simple sustenance into vessels of blessing. His customers tasted not just bread, but the frequency of care he had woven into each loaf. The law of attraction operates with this same precision. Every thought you release carries a vibration that ripples through the fabric of creation, attracting experiences that match its frequency. When you speak words of kindness, think thoughts of abundance, or envision outcomes with love, you are essentially mixing colors on the great canvas of existence. Ancient practice. Stand before your day as an artist before a blank canvas. Take 3 deep breaths and imagine each word you will speak as particles of light, drifting into the air around you. For the next 7 days, treat every utterance as a sacred brushstroke, painting your reality with intentional awareness. Watch how ordinary exchanges begin to shimmer with new meaning, how casual conversations transform into opportunities for miracles to emerge. This is not simply metaphor. It is the art of conscious creation. Chapter 4. The Choice to Believe. In the shade of an ancient oak tree, Nora found herself in a peculiar dialogue. Though invisible, the wind's presence was undeniable as it orchestrated a symphony of rustling leaves above her head. She watched, fascinated, as unseen currents shaped the visible world, moving branches and scattering fallen leaves in intricate patterns across the earth. This truth echoes through the ages. The most powerful forces in our universe often remain hidden from sight. Just as the wind shapes the physical world without revealing its form, your thoughts and beliefs orchestrate the dance of circumstances in your life. The law of attraction operates with this same subtle power, moving through the fabric of reality like an invisible breeze, arranging events in harmony with your inner state. When you align yourself with this truth, you begin to understand that seeing is not the prerequisite for believing. Rather, belief becomes the foundation from which all visible manifestations arise. The universe responds not to what your eyes witness, but to the unwavering certainty that dwells within your heart. Consider Everett, whose simple jar became a vessel of joy. To others it appeared empty, yet when he removed its lid, the atmosphere transformed. Those around him felt their spirits lift, their smiles widen, their hearts grow lighter. What mattered was not the physical contents of the jar, but Everett's unshakable belief in its power to spread happiness. His jar serves as a mirror of the law of attraction's fundamental nature. The power lay not in the container itself, but in the absolute faith that radiated from Everett's being. He understood that joy needs no physical proof to be real. It manifests first as a feeling, then as experience. You too hold this power. The universe flows through your beliefs like wind through leaves, shaping tomorrow according to the thoughts you nurture today. Each moment offers an invitation to trust in the unseen orchestration of good unfolding in your life. Ancient practice. Find a quiet moment each day to sit in stillness. Close your eyes and allow yourself to feel the certainty of benevolence awaiting you in your future. Let this feeling grow until you sense laughter bubbling up from within, like champagne of the soul. This practice creates a magnetic resonance that draws forth experiences matching your joyful expectation. Chapter 5. The Secret Pulse of Gratitude. In a small village nestled among rolling hills, Annie kept a leather-bound journal by her bedside. Each morning, as the first light brushed against her window, she would reach for her pen and write messages of thanks to the dawn. Some days, her words flowed like honey, sweet acknowledgments for the birdsong, the fresh air, the warmth of her blanket. Other days, when clouds hung heavy and her spirit felt dim, she would still write, thanking the morning for simply arriving. The universe speaks in the language of gratitude. This truth echoes through the ages. Appreciation is not merely courtesy. It is the force that shapes reality itself. When you express genuine thanks, you activate an ancient law that has guided sages and masters throughout time. This law states that what you acknowledge multiplies, what you bless increases, and what you appreciate appreciates. Your gratitude is not a reaction to abundance. It is the very seed from which abundance grows. Each thank you uttered with sincerity becomes a beacon, drawing more experiences worthy of appreciation into your field of existence. This is not magical thinking, but rather the natural order of energy responding to energy, of life answering life. Along the misty shores of a coastal village lived Walter, a fisherman whose weathered hands told stories of countless days at sea. While other fishermen cursed the empty nets and barren waters, Walter sang songs of thanks to the waves, the wind, and even the days when no fish came to greet his nets. Other villagers thought him strange, perhaps touched by too much sun. Yet, as seasons passed, they noticed something remarkable about Walter. While he did not always return with the biggest catch, his eyes sparkled with a contentment that no storm could dim. His boat, though simple, never failed him. His nets, though old, remained strong. When asked about his secret, Walter would smile and say, "I learned long ago that my wealth lies not in what I catch, but in my gratitude for the chance to cast my net at all." His story illuminates a powerful truth. Thanksgiving is not about what you have. It is about aligning yourself with the natural flow of abundance. Like Walter, when you choose gratitude regardless of circumstances, you tune your spirit to the frequency of prosperity. The universe responds not to your words alone, but to the energy of appreciation that radiates from your being. Practice. As dawn approaches tomorrow, before your feet touch the floor, choose one thing, no matter how small, and offer it your genuine thanks. Let this gesture be your first conscious act, a gentle note that sets the tone for your day's symphony. This simple ritual, practiced with consistency, will gradually transform your relationship with abundance itself. Chapter 6. The Alignment Within. In the mist of dawn, Sadie stood at her window, eyes fixed on the digital clock, waiting for 11:11. Her heart leaped at synchronized numbers, and she collected fallen feathers like sacred messages. The universe speaks in whispers, yet she strained to hear, searching every moment for signs of divine guidance. The truth emerges through Sadie's searching. The clearest messages arrive not in the frantic hunt for meaning, but in the gentle surrender to what is. When you chase signs, they scatter like startled birds. When you rest in acceptance, they alight upon your open palm. Your relationship with the universe flows like water. The harder you grasp, the more it slips through your fingers. The signs you seek have always surrounded you, woven into the fabric of each moment. They speak not through desperate seeking, but through the quiet recognition of what already exists. Consider Gideon, the boatmaker who worked in profound silence. For years he built vessels that seemed to dance with the water rather than fight against it. Other craftsmen marveled at how his boats moved like living things, responding to currents as naturally as fish. One day, a fellow builder asked Gideon his secret. He simply placed his hand on the wood and closed his eyes. "The ocean already knows how to flow," he said. "I simply listen until my hands understand its language." Gideon's wisdom illuminates a fundamental truth. Alignment with universal forces comes not through forcing or searching, but through allowing yourself to become still enough to feel the natural rhythm that already exists. His boats sailed with grace because they emerged from silence, shaped by hands that had learned to listen rather than impose. When you release the need to chase meaning, meaning finds you. The universe's guidance flows most clearly through a mind at peace, like light through still water. Your role is not to hunt for signs, but to cultivate the inner quiet that allows you to recognize them. Practice. As you close your eyes, place one hand over your heart. Breathe deeply until your heartbeat becomes a conversation with the infinite. Let each pulse remind you that you are already in dialogue with creation. Remain here until you feel the shift from searching to receiving. Trust that clarity arrives not through pursuit, but through the willingness to be still and listen. In this sacred stillness, the signs you once chased will reveal themselves, speaking through the natural language of your aligned heart. Chapter 7. the law that loves you. In a small mountain village, Lucy clutched her prayer beads each time a negative thought crossed her mind. She believed the universe would strike her down for every impure impulse, every flash of anger, every moment of doubt. Her days became a prison of constant vigilance, watching her thoughts like a guard watches prisoners. The law of attraction speaks not in the language of punishment, but in the dialect of pure reflection. It carries no judgment, holds no grudge, and keeps no record of wrongs. Like a mirror that simply shows what stands before it, this universal force responds to your vibration with mathematical precision, neither rewarding nor punishing, but simply matching energy with energy. When you understand this truth, fear dissolves into freedom. Your thoughts are not sins to be condemned, but signals to be understood. Even moments of contrast, those experiences you might label as negative, serve as valuable indicators, showing you with perfect clarity what you desire to create instead. In a bustling schoolhouse, Franklin taught mathematics with unusual grace. Where others saw wrong answers as failures, he transformed each mistake into an artwork of understanding. His chalkboard became a canvas where errors blossomed into insights. When young Thomas reversed his numbers, Franklin drew a beautiful pattern showing how 23 and 32 danced together in mathematical symmetry. When Maria forgot to carry the 1, he turned her mistake into a lesson about how every number, like every person, carries hidden value. "Look," he would say, pointing to crossed-out calculations, "here is where understanding grew stronger." His students learned not to hide their missteps, but to examine them with gentle curiosity. Under his guidance, the classroom hummed not with the tension of perfection, but with the joy of discovery. This wisdom extends beyond mathematics into the very fabric of creation. The universe does not demand flawless performance. It responds to the energy you emanate in each moment. When you release the grip of self-judgment, your vibration naturally rises. Like a river undamming itself, your creative force flows more freely. Understanding this truth liberates you from the need to police your thoughts. Instead of fearful monitoring, you can practice loving awareness. Instead of harsh self-criticism, you can cultivate gentle curiosity. The law of attraction always says yes. Yes to your fear. Yes to your trust. Yes to your growth. Yes to your becoming. Practice. Take a moment now to notice any self-criticism arising within you. Instead of pushing it away or punishing yourself for having it, approach it with gentle curiosity. Ask yourself, what is this feeling trying to teach me? Notice how this shift from judgment to curiosity immediately alters your vibration, allowing manifestation to flow more freely. Chapter 8. The Frequency of Joy. In a small, sunlit kitchen, Hazel spun with arms raised, her bare feet gliding across worn tiles. No melody played, yet she moved as if carried by an invisible symphony. Each morning she chose this dance, this wordless celebration of being alive. And like clockwork, unexpected blessings began appearing at her doorstep. The universe speaks through frequency, not words. When you align with joy, you transmit at the highest vibration possible, the very essence of creation itself. This is why children attract magic so easily. They haven't yet learned to question their natural state of delight. Joy isn't mere emotion. It's your soul's native language, the purest form of communication with the infinite. Every time you allow yourself to dance without reason, sing without audience, or laugh without cause, you're sending ripples through the fabric of reality. These ripples return as synchronicities, as opportunities, as answered prayers you didn't even know you'd whispered. This is the law of attraction in its most pristine form, responding not to what you ask for, but to the energy you embody. Arthur, who carried letters through winding streets, understood this truth without ever studying it. Each morning he would begin his route with a gentle hum, a quiet song that seemed to rise from his very being. Those on his path noticed something peculiar. Whenever Arthur arrived, good news always seemed to reach them first. Wedding invitations would somehow rise to the top of his bag. Acceptance letters would find their way into his hands before bills. Job offers appeared before junk mail. The secret wasn't in any conscious sorting. Arthur's melody simply magnetized joy. His humming created a field of positive expectation, and the universe, ever responsive, arranged itself accordingly. He didn't try to make this happen. He simply allowed his natural happiness to lead the way. This exemplifies a fundamental truth. The law of attraction operates most powerfully through your authentic state of being. When you force positivity, you create resistance. But when you allow joy to bubble up naturally, like a child's spontaneous dance or a bird's morning song, you tap into the universe's own rhythm. The practice of the ancients becomes clear. Joy is not the reward, it is the path. Movement born of pure delight creates motion in the unseen realms, stirring the waters of possibility until opportunity can't help but surface. Practice. Let yourself laugh at nothing today, and notice how doors you never saw begin creaking open in response. Chapter 9. The Magnetic Heart. In the quiet dawn, May arranged her sketches beneath her pillow with the reverence of one placing offerings at a sacred altar. Each drawing held a piece of her soul's longing, a house by the sea, a garden in full bloom, a stage where she saw herself dancing. Night after night, she allowed these images to merge with her dreams, trusting that her sleeping mind would weave them into the fabric of reality. The universe speaks in the language of feeling. Your thoughts craft the vessel, but it is your emotions that fill it with life-giving water. When you align your heart's frequency with your desires, you transform from a dreamer into a creator. This truth echoes through the ages. Feeling is the secret power that awakens dormant possibilities into manifested form. In the heart of the city, Leonard worked miracles with engines others had deemed beyond repair. While fellow mechanics relied on diagnostic tools and manuals, he placed his hands upon metal casings and closed his eyes, sensing the subtle variations in each machine's pulse. Every engine has its own song, he would say, and when something's wrong, the melody tells me where to look. His customers marveled at his accuracy, but Leonard knew he was simply listening to the same universal language that flows through all things. Your heart beats in perfect rhythm with the cosmos. It knows the difference between what merely looks appealing and what truly resonates with your destiny. When you learn to tune in to this internal guidance system, decisions become clear, paths open effortlessly, and synchronicities multiply around you. May's sketches began manifesting in unexpected ways. A real estate listing matching her dream house appeared the day after she drew it. An invitation to dance arrived when she least expected it. Leonard's sensitivity to vibration attracted clients who appreciated his gift, transforming his small garage into a sanctuary of mechanical harmony. Their stories reveal a fundamental truth. The universe responds not to what you think about, but to what you vibrate. Joy is not just an emotion. It is a frequency that aligns you with the natural flow of creation. When you allow yourself to feel the reality of your desires before they materialize, you broadcast a signal that the universe cannot help but answer. To access this power, place your hand upon your chest before making any choice. Feel the steady rhythm beneath your fingers. This is your internal compass, your direct line to universal wisdom. Ask yourself, what feels alive? What makes my heart sing? The answer will come not in words, but in sensations, a lightness, an expansion, a quiet excitement that says, yes. Practice placing your hand on your chest before any choice, asking your rhythm what feels alive, and let that pulse lead. Chapter 10. The Invitation of Trust. In the heart of a distant village, Ruby knelt in her garden during winter's deepest chill. While others waited for spring's warmth, she planted seeds in frozen earth, whispering to them of summer blooms. Each morning she would visit her dormant garden, pouring faith into the sleeping soil. The universe operates through this same principle of assured expectation. Like Ruby's seeds beneath the frost, your desires germinate in the invisible realm before breaking through to physical form. Time is not your enemy, but your ally, nurturing each dream until it reaches perfect ripeness. When you plant a seed, you trust in laws beyond sight. You do not dig it up each day to check its progress. This same patience must cradle your manifestations. The law of attraction responds not to anxious monitoring, but to steady conviction. Your role is to plant the seed of intention and then water it with unwavering belief. Owen understood this wisdom in his own way. In moments of inspiration, he would write letters to his future self, sealing them with hope rather than stamps. He addressed them simply, "To my future self," and released them into the flow of life. Years later, these letters would mysteriously appear, tucked in old books, slipped beneath floorboards, or delivered by strangers who felt compelled to pass them on. Each letter arrived precisely when its message was needed most. One reminded him to trust his path just as he faced a crucial decision. Another appeared with words of courage on the morning of his greatest challenge. The universe had honored his faith in timing, delivering each seed of intention at its perfect moment of blooming. Your desires are like Owen's letters, already in motion, already finding their way to you through time's mysterious passages. The law of attraction works not by the calendar's pages, but by the ripeness of alignment. Trust that what you have planted in consciousness will reach you in divine timing. The practice. Take a moment now to write a promise to yourself, beginning with the words, "I trust." Fold this promise and keep it close to your heart, in a pocket, beneath your pillow, or near your workspace. Let it remind you that your desires are already in motion, already growing toward manifestation. Your role is not to force their arrival, but to maintain the steady light of expectation that guides them home. This promise becomes a magnetic force, drawing your desire through time's corridors until it stands before you, transformed from thought to thing. Trust in this process as naturally as you trust a seed to seek the sun. Chapter 11. The Paradox of Letting Go. In an ancient village, nestled among mist-covered hills, lived Bee, whose hands brought forth figures from clay with remarkable grace. Yet more remarkable still was her practice of destroying each creation before it could harden. As the sun rose each morning, she would shape beings of extraordinary beauty, dancers caught mid-twirl, birds about to take flight, children laughing, only to crush them back into formless clay before dusk. Those who witnessed this ritual often gasped in dismay, but Bee's eyes held a secret wisdom. With each figure she released, her next creation emerged more beautiful, more alive than the last. Through her practice, she discovered a truth that echoes through the ages. Attachment binds energy, while release allows it to flow. The universe operates in a constant dance of giving and receiving. When you clutch too tightly to outcomes, dreams, or even beliefs, you create resistance in this natural flow. Like a river meeting a dam, energy stagnates where grip is too firm. Your manifestations require space to breathe, to evolve, to transform into forms even more magnificent than your initial vision. Chester, a wandering juggler, embodied this wisdom in his own way. While other performers strove for perfection, he intentionally dropped his balls during shows. In those moments of apparent failure, something magical happened. His audiences leaned in, connected, smiled. By releasing the need for flawless performance, he created space for authentic connection. His mistakes became bridges of joy between hearts. The law of attraction responds not to your grip, but to your trust. When you hold your desires with open palms rather than clenched fists, you allow the universe to exceed your expectations. Think of how a butterfly lands. It chooses the flower that stands open, not the one that tries to trap it. Your path to manifestation becomes clearer when you understand that letting go is not surrender to loss, but surrender to possibility. Each release creates space for greater alignment. Like Bee's clay returning to potential, your released attachments become raw material for grander creation. Practice. In sacred stillness, express gratitude for what departs from your life today with the same warmth you offer what arrives. Feel the golden space of possibility expand within your heart. Let this be your offering to the infinite dance of creation. Part 2. The dance between you and the infinite. Chapter 12. The Voice That Guides. In a bustling marketplace, Faye stood at a crossroads. While others rushed past with determined steps and planned destinations, she remained still, eyes closed, waiting. Without warning, she turned left down an alley she had never noticed before. This seemingly random choice led her to discover an old bookshop where she found the very answer she had been seeking for months. The universe speaks in gentle nudges, subtle pulls, and quiet knowings. These whispers are not random impulses, but the voice of ancient wisdom flowing through you. Your intuition is the thread that connects you to the infinite intelligence that orchestrates all of creation. When you learn to trust these subtle promptings, you align with the natural flow of life. The rational mind may question, doubt, or demand explanations, but your inner knowing transcends logic. It operates on a higher frequency where time bends and synchronicities bloom. In a small village nestled among mountains, Ralph spent his days transforming fallen branches into walking sticks. Unlike other craftsmen who worked with precise measurements and detailed plans, he simply held each piece of wood and waited. "The stick knows what it wants to become," he would say, his weathered hands moving only when he felt what he called the song of the wood. Those who carried his walking stick spoke of an inexplicable rightness, as if the wood had grown specifically for their grip. Your intuition operates with this same sacred precision. It knows the perfect timing, the ideal path, the next step that serves your highest good. When you silence the noise of should and must, when you release the need to understand everything before taking action, you open yourself to this divine guidance. The ancient ones knew this truth. Logic is a faithful servant, but an unworthy master. Your deepest wisdom speaks in feelings, in sudden knowings, in those moments when your heart leaps before your mind can form a thought. This is not coincidence, but convergence. Your soul recognizing the path it mapped before birth. Sacred practice. Before making any decision today, pause for 3 breaths. In that space of stillness, notice which choice brings a sensation of ease to your body. Follow that gentle pull, even if it seems illogical. Trust the wisdom that whispers beneath your thoughts. As you practice this sacred listening, watch how life begins to flow with graceful synchronicity. Chapter 13. The Mirror of Relationships. Kit adored friendships that mirrored her best qualities but recoiled from those who triggered discomfort. In her garden sanctuary, surrounded by roses she tenderly cultivated, she welcomed only those whose presence felt like sunshine. Yet the universe, in its infinite wisdom, continued placing thorny personalities in her path. The truth whispers through time. Every person who stirs unease within you serves as a sacred mirror, reflecting the shadowed corners of your own consciousness. These encounters are not accidents, but divine appointments, each one precisely arranged to polish the rough edges of your understanding. When someone's words or actions create turbulence in your spirit, they illuminate beliefs within you that seek transformation. Their presence acts as sandpaper upon your soul, smoothing away resistance to unconditional love. What appears as conflict on the surface masks a deeper invitation to expand. Jonah, a masterful shoemaker in a distant village, discovered this wisdom through his craft. Day after day, he observed that comfort arose not from forcing feet into rigid shapes, but from finding the perfect balance between space and support. "A shoe that binds," he would say, "teaches us where we resist movement. A shoe that slips reveals where we fear commitment. The perfect fit emerges when we honor both the foot and the leather's nature." So it is with souls meeting souls. Each interaction seeks its natural harmony, neither too constrained by judgment nor too loose with boundaries. When you encounter someone who disturbs your peace, they arrive as teachers bearing the gift of growth. Their presence reveals precisely where your love still conditions itself, where your acceptance still requires certain terms. The law of attraction orchestrates these meetings with exquisite precision. Those who trigger you are not your adversaries, but your advanced teachers, offering master classes in self-awareness. Every moment of friction contains a seed of freedom, waiting to blossom into greater understanding. Practice thanking the next irritation as a sacred mirror polishing your willingness to love without condition. Chapter 14. The Rhythm of Giving. In a distant village there lived a young woman named Tessa who collected copper coins in a small wooden box. Each morning she would count her meager savings, not to measure her wealth, but to calculate how many strangers she could help that day. She never revealed herself as the source of the mysterious coins that appeared on doorsteps or in the pockets of those in need. As she gave, an extraordinary pattern emerged. Her own fortunes mysteriously multiplied, as if the universe itself was matching her gifts with invisible abundance. What Tessa discovered through her innocent acts of kindness unveils a fundamental truth about the law of attraction. The universe responds not to the size of your offering, but to the magnitude of love behind it. When you give with pure intention, you activate a cosmic circuit of endless supply. Your generosity becomes a declaration of faith in abundance itself. In the bustling streets of another city, Glenn, a street musician, played his guitar with unwavering joy. While other performers carefully monitored their tip jars, Glenn lost himself in the pure pleasure of sharing music. He played with equal enthusiasm, whether his audience was a crowd or a single child. As his melodies floated freely through the air, something magical occurred. The more unconditionally he gave his gift, the more abundantly his tip jar overflowed. Glenn's story teaches us that abundance flows most freely when we release our grip on outcomes. The universe delights in surprising those who give without expectation of return. Your genuine desire to contribute creates a magnetic field that attracts prosperity through unexpected channels. This sacred law of circulation moves through all things. Like breath itself, the more freely you exhale, the more naturally you can inhale. When you grasp at air, you interrupt its natural rhythm. So too with abundance. Clutching creates resistance, while sharing creates flow. The universe operates through this profound mathematics of the heart. Every act of giving is multiplied, not by human calculation, but by divine grace. Your generosity need not be monetary. It can be a smile, a kind word, a moment of attention, or a silent blessing. The currency of love knows no limits. Your relationship with abundance reflects your trust in this infinite flow. When you give from fear, the flow constricts. When you give from love, the flow expands. The secret lies not in the amount, but in the feeling behind your offering. Ancient practice. Find one opportunity today to offer an anonymous kindness. Let it be something small but heartfelt, perhaps leaving flowers on someone's doorstep or paying for a stranger's coffee. Do not reveal yourself as the giver. Instead, feel the quiet joy of knowing you've contributed to the universe's dance of generosity. Notice how this hidden act of giving creates ripples of abundance in unexpected ways. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 15. The Courage to Receive. In the quiet corners of an ancient village there lived a woman named Mabel, whose heart flowed with endless generosity, yet whose spirit struggled with receiving. Each time someone offered praise for her kindness or gratitude for her deeds, she would bow her head and murmur excuses, deflecting the light others wished to shine upon her. "Oh, it was nothing," she would say, or anyone would have done the same. With each denial, the universe noticed how she turned away from its attempts to bless her in return. The law of attraction speaks in the language of energy exchange. When you refuse to receive, you create resistance in the natural flow of abundance. Like a stream that meets a dam, the current of prosperity becomes confused, unsure where to deposit its gifts. Your acceptance is not pride, it is permission for the universe to complete its circle of giving. In the same village lived Peter, the keeper of books, whose wisdom manifested in his graceful receiving. When visitors thanked him for his guidance in finding just the right story, he would smile warmly and say, "You are welcome," with such genuine appreciation that his acceptance became a gift in itself. Soon, mysterious packages began arriving at his door, rare volumes, first editions, ancient texts that seemed to find their way to him, as if guided by an invisible hand. The universe delights in those who understand that receiving is not taking. It is completing the sacred cycle of exchange. Every time you accept a compliment with grace, every moment you allow another's kindness to touch your heart without resistance, you declare to the infinite field of possibility, "I am ready. I am worthy. I am open to receive." Think of the breath. It must be both drawn in and released for life to continue. Imagine if your lungs decided they would only give out air, but never take it in. This is what happens when you refuse to receive. You interrupt the natural rhythm of abundance that seeks to move through you. Peter's story reveals a profound truth. When you accept graciously, you honor not only yourself, but also the giver. His simple thank you created space for more blessings to arrive, as though each acceptance was an invitation for the universe to give again. As you walk this path of conscious creation, remember that receiving is not greed, it is grace. It is not selfishness, it is sacred participation in the endless dance of giving and receiving that sustains all of creation. Sacred practice. For the next 7 days, when someone offers you praise or thanks, resist the urge to diminish or deflect it. Instead, breathe deeply, look them in the eyes, and simply say, "Thank you." Feel the words settle in your heart like seeds of light. Notice how this simple act of receiving creates ripples of joy that extend far beyond the moment of exchange. Chapter 16. The Transformation of Fear. In the heart of an ancient valley, there lived a woman named Ivy, who spent her days gazing at the mountains from her window, yearning to explore their peaks, yet paralyzed by thoughts of falling. Each morning, she would pack her bag for adventure, only to unpack it as shadows of doubt crept in. Her hands would tremble as she touched the hiking boots she'd never worn, her heart racing with visions of missteps and storms. The universe speaks through every emotion, even those that make us quiver. Fear is not your enemy, but a messenger pointing toward growth. When you resist its presence, it grows stronger, a law as certain as gravity. Yet, when you embrace it as a teacher, its energy transforms into power. Your fear whispers of possibilities yet unlived, dreams still cocooned in comfort. Each trembling moment signals not danger, but dormant strength waiting to unfold. The law of attraction responds not to your words of courage, but to the vibration of your relationship with uncertainty. When you fight against fear, you attract more reasons to be afraid. When you welcome it as a guide, it reveals the path to your expansion. Lionel, a mountain climber, discovered this truth on the face of towering cliffs. In his early days, every gust of wind felt like nature's rejection, every loose stone a harbinger of doom. But one dawn, as he stood at the base of a formidable peak, he tried something different. Instead of bracing against the wind, he began greeting it as an old friend. "Welcome," he would whisper to each breeze. "Show me where to place my hands." The more he treated the heights as allies rather than adversaries, the more stable his footing became. Soon, his climbs transformed from battles into dances, each ascent a conversation with the mountain rather than a conquest. The teaching crystallizes in Lionel's transformation. Fear becomes faith when embraced rather than escaped. The universe doesn't ask you to be fearless. It invites you to be intimate with your fears until they reveal their hidden wisdom. Every quiver of uncertainty carries within it a map to your next evolution. Practice. Find a quiet moment today and speak your fear aloud. Thank it specifically for showing you where courage waits to blossom. Then take one small step, just one, in the direction that makes you tremble. Notice how the universe responds to this act of trust, with subtle signs of support. Chapter 17. The Blueprint of Thought. The transformation of fear flows like water. It can either erode your dreams or nourish them into bloom. This truth unveils itself through the story of Winnie, who filled notebooks with perfectly crafted affirmations, reciting them with mechanical precision. Day after day she wrote, "I am abundant, and success flows to me easily," yet her reality remained unchanged. Then one morning, as sunlight spilled across her desk, Winnie noticed how her heart contracted around certain words while expanding around others. She realized that the universe responds not to the elegance of phrases, but to the electricity of emotion they generate. When she wrote, "I am cherished by life itself," her whole being hummed with recognition. That affirmation worked not because of its construction, but because it awakened joy within her. This understanding illuminates a fundamental principle. Manifestation springs from feeling, not formula. The law of attraction speaks the language of vibration, where each emotion creates ripples in the fabric of reality. Words are merely vessels. It is the energy they carry that shapes your experience. Consider Nolan, the intuitive architect, who built homes that seemed to emerge from the earth itself. While others clutched their rulers and protractors, Nolan would sit in silence on each plot of land, allowing inspiration to guide his hand. His blueprints often defied conventional geometry, yet the houses he created stood strong through storms and seasons, as if the very ground had blessed their foundations. "The heart knows what the mind must learn to trust," Nolan would say when questioned about his methods. His work demonstrated that when you align with inner wisdom, outer form follows naturally. The buildings he designed weren't just structures. They were manifestations of harmony between intention and intuition. These stories reveal the secret of effective creation. Emotion is the ink that writes reality. Just as Winnie discovered that heartfelt affirmations held more power than perfect ones, and Nolan showed that felt wisdom outweighed measured calculation, you too possess this ability to transform energy into experience. Practice. Choose one sentence today that fills you with genuine warmth when you speak it. Let the words resonate not just in your mind, but in your entire being. Repeat it not for the syllables, but for the sensation it creates within you. Notice how the feeling, more than the phrase itself, begins to attract its matching reality. Chapter 18. The Presence of Now. In the quiet of an autumn morning, Edie paced her garden path, her eyes darting between phone and sky, searching for omens. Each passing cloud became potential prophecy, each bird call a coded message. Her shoulders tensed with waiting, mind racing ahead to future moments, missing the poetry of now. Then came the cat, an aged creature with fur the color of wheat and twilight. It appeared without ceremony, claiming a patch of sunlight on her stone wall. While Edie fidgeted, the cat simply was. Its presence spoke volumes in stillness, each purr a lesson in the art of being. The universe whispers through such moments. Now is where power dwells. When you race ahead in thought, you splinter your energy across phantom futures, diluting the potency of presence. The present moment is not a stepping stone to somewhere else. It is the throne room of creation, where all possibility condenses into now. In the watchmaker's shop on the edge of town, Samuel understood this truth through broken timepieces. Each stopped clock in his collection held a peculiar beauty, hands frozen in eternal gesture, marking a moment that would never pass. Their stillness revealed the secret. Beneath the mechanical march of seconds flows a deeper current of timeless being. "These stopped clocks," Samuel would say, touching their silent faces. "They remember what we forget, that time is not our master, but our dance partner." The law of attraction responds not to future longing, but to present vibration. When you split yourself between now and then, you fracture the mirror through which manifestation reflects. But in the pure presence of now, energy flows undivided, undiluted, creating with pristine clarity. Like the cat in sunlight, like the stopped clock's serenity, your power awaits in stillness. The future arrives not through chase, but through allowing, through sinking so deeply into now that time itself bends to your presence. Practice. Find a quiet space and watch one breath's complete journey, from the first stirring of inhalation to the final release of exhale. In this singular breath lies proof that paradise is not waiting in some distant then, but blooms eternally in the garden of now. Chapter 19. The Garden of Inner Words. In a garden withering under summer's fierce gaze, a young woman named Penny noticed how her flowers responded differently to her daily musings. When worry clouded her thoughts about upcoming storms, the petals curled inward as if already defeated. Yet on mornings when she walked among them with quiet joy, sharing dreams of their mutual flourishing, even the most delicate blooms stood taller. Through the whispers of intuition, a profound truth emerged. Your inner dialogue creates ripples far beyond the confines of your mind. Each thought carries a vibration that the universe receives and reflects with perfect precision. When you speak harshly to yourself, that energy spreads like frost across the landscape of your experience. But when you cultivate gentle wisdom in your inner sanctuary, life responds with unexpected grace. In a distant valley, there lived a farmer named Curtis, who understood this sacred principle. His neighbors often questioned his peculiar methods, for he spent hours speaking softly to struggling plants. While others turned to chemicals and force, Curtis believed in the power of loving conversation. Time and again, vines that appeared beyond saving would gradually strengthen under his tender attention. "The plants hear the heart behind the words," he would say, smiling at those who doubted. "Everything in nature responds to the frequency of love." His withered tomato plants transformed into abundant producers, their stems growing strong and vital beneath his daily benedictions. Other farmers eventually noticed that Curtis's crops proved more resilient to drought and disease, though they couldn't explain why. The secret lay not in technique but in tendency, his unwavering choice to speak life rather than limitation. This ancient wisdom teaches that your self-talk is not mere mental chatter, but a powerful force shaping the matrix of your reality. Every word you whisper to yourself carries creative power. The universe doesn't judge whether your inner dialogue is right or wrong. It simply matches your vibration with experiences of similar frequency. Practice listening to how you speak to yourself and watering with tenderness the sentences that feed life. Chapter 20. The Sacred Pause Before Miracles. In the garden of your thoughts grows every flower of possibility, each petal shaped by the words you whisper in secret moments. Your inner dialogue is not mere mental chatter. It is the sacred soil from which your reality blooms. Jane's tale echoes through time, a reminder of how the seeds of impatience can overshadow the fruits of divine timing. In those moments when success stood just beyond the veil, her hurried thoughts created storms that nearly uprooted her dreams. Yet the universe, in its infinite wisdom, continued preparing her blessings, even as she knocked frantically at doors not yet ready to open. Your thoughts are like water. They flow ceaselessly, nurturing or drowning what they touch. When you speak harshly to yourself, doubt becomes drought, and possibilities wither before their season. But when you cultivate patience, allowing the natural rhythm of creation to unfold, miracles take root. Calvin, who lived by the tides, understood this truth deeply. Each day he would sit by his boat, reading the water's mood with the wisdom of one who had learned that nature cannot be rushed. "The fish come when the tide aligns," he would say, "not when we demand them." His weathered hands told stories of countless hours spent in peaceful waiting, knowing that synchronization with divine timing brought more abundance than desperate casting of nets. Through Calvin's example, we glimpse a profound truth. Your relationship with time shapes your relationship with manifestation. Those who fight against divine timing often miss the very blessings they seek, while those who rest in sacred patience find themselves carried effortlessly toward their desires. When urgency rises like a storm within you, remember that stillness is not surrender, it is strategy. The universe operates with perfect precision, orchestrating events beyond your current vision. Your task is not to force the timing, but to align with it, like Calvin reading the tides. Let your inner garden grow at its own pace. Water it with words of trust, fertilize it with faith, and watch how your patience transforms into power. The divine whispers through the language of perfect timing, and those who learn to listen find themselves dancing in harmony with creation's rhythm. Practice. Rest when urgency surges, trusting that stillness is strategy written by the divine. Chapter 21. The Soul's Signature. In a small village nestled among ancient hills, Hattie spent her days comparing herself to others, trying to mirror their ways of living, working, and even breathing. Each morning she would practice walking like the graceful baker's wife, speaking like the eloquent schoolteacher, or arranging her home like the admired merchant's daughter. Yet, Peace eluded her, slipping through her fingers like water through cupped hands. This truth emerges from shadows of doubt. Your essence is not a mistake to be corrected, but a light to be unveiled. The universe creates no duplicates, for uniqueness serves as the very language through which infinite intelligence expresses itself. When you attempt to diminish your distinct nature, you interrupt the flow of divine energy that wishes to move through you in ways it moves through no other. In the depths of night, Hattie finally understood. Her perceived flaws were actually sacred signatures. Her peculiar laugh that she had tried to soften was music to some ears. Her unusual way of solving problems that she had attempted to standardize was precisely what certain situations required. The moment she embraced her natural rhythm, opportunities began appearing that seemed tailored exactly for her particular gifts. Jerome, whose calligraphy shop sat at the corner of the village square, understood this principle intimately. While other scribes prided themselves on perfect uniformity, Jerome allowed each letter to emerge with its own character. "Look at the trees," he would say, holding up leaves from the same branch. "Nature never repeats herself exactly, so why should we?" His work became sought after not despite, but because of its uniqueness. Each piece carried an energy that could not be replicated, for it flowed from moments of pure authenticity. Those who received his works spoke not just of their beauty, but of how they seemed to pulse with life itself. The law of attraction responds most powerfully to authenticity because it is the highest form of alignment. When you allow yourself to be as you are, you enter into harmony with the creative force that designed you. Your unique frequency becomes a beacon, drawing to you exactly what resonates with your truest self. The universe delights in originality because it is through our differences that the full spectrum of existence can be expressed. Your particular way of being becomes a note in the cosmic symphony that would be incomplete without exactly your tone. Ancient practice. Find a quiet moment and place your hand over your heart. Breathe deeply and whisper, "I honor my natural way of being." Then, for the rest of this day, practice honoring what feels natural to you even if unconventional, for that is your soul autographing existence. Part 3. The Embodiment of Divine Choice. Chapter 22. The Infinite Conversation. In the quiet hills beyond the city, Olive spent her evenings beneath the stars, asking questions into the darkness and waiting for replies. Night after night, she noticed patterns emerging, a shooting star precisely as she voiced her deepest wish, a constellation seeming to twinkle in response to her thoughts. What began as coincidence revealed itself as conversation. The universe speaks in synchronicity. What appears as random chance to the untrained eye is actually the intricate language of creation responding to your awareness. Each moment carries messages woven into the fabric of your experience, waiting to be recognized by a heart willing to listen. When you begin to notice these subtle dialogues, you discover that life itself is an ongoing correspondence between your consciousness and the infinite intelligence that orchestrates all things. A bird appearing at your window is not merely a bird. It may be carrying the exact reminder your soul needed in that moment. A song playing in a store might contain the very words that answer the question you've been pondering. Emmett understood this delicate art of listening. As a radio operator in a remote station, He spent years fine-tuning frequencies through layers of static. At first he strained to hear clear signals, adjusting dials with frustrated precision. But one day, he realized that forcing clarity only created more interference. Instead, he began to relax into the static, allowing his intuition to guide subtle adjustments. That's when the messages started coming through with remarkable clarity. "The noise isn't separate from the signal," he would say. "It's part of the conversation. When you trust the space between words, you hear what's really being said." Like Emmett's static, life's synchronicities require a certain softness of attention. They whisper rather than shout, arriving in gentle nudges and quiet coincidences that might be missed by a mind too rigid in its expectations. The universe communicates through a language of resonance, speaking directly to your inner knowing. Your existence is an ongoing dialogue with the infinite. Every thought you release sends ripples through the cosmic web, and every experience that flows back is a response crafted specifically for your growth. The key lies not in demanding proof, but in cultivating the art of sacred listening, allowing yourself to recognize the love notes scattered throughout your days. Ancient practice. As the sun rises tomorrow, begin to notice the subtle ways the universe winks at you. When coincidences appear, smile back knowingly. Keep a soft awareness throughout your day, treating each moment as a potential message from the infinite. Trust that you are being responded to, even in the spaces between events. Let yourself be surprised by how many ways creation finds to remind you that you are heard, seen, and answered. Chapter 23. The Power of Words Unspoken. In the depths of an ancient forest, Vera spent her days collecting herbs and remedies. While others chattered endlessly about their healing properties, she worked in complete silence. Those who came to her cottage often found themselves speaking less and receiving more. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, had taught her that true power lies not in endless proclamations, but in the sacred space between words. The law of attraction responds not to the volume of your requests, but to the vibration of your being. When you still the constant chatter of the mind, you enter the sacred chamber where manifestation begins. Here, in the quiet depths of your consciousness, the universe speaks in whispers that reshape reality. Each moment of silence is an invitation to commune with the infinite intelligence that orchestrates all of creation. Like a clear pool reflecting the sky, a quiet mind mirrors the wisdom of the cosmos. Your thoughts become clearer, your intentions purer, and your connection to Source stronger when you embrace the power of silence. Howard, a renowned concert pianist, discovered this truth during a performance at the Grand Theater. As his fingers danced across the keys, he felt moved to pause unexpectedly. The audience held their breath, caught in that moment of pure stillness. In that pause, something profound occurred. Hearts opened, tears flowed, and transformation happened. The silence spoke volumes that no melody could express. Through Howard's experience, we glimpse a fundamental truth. The spaces between notes create the music, just as the spaces between thoughts create clarity. The law of attraction works most powerfully in these moments of sacred stillness, when your energy is undiluted by the noise of doubt and fear. When you learn to value silence as much as sound, you begin to hear the universe's subtle guidance. Every pause becomes pregnant with possibility. Every moment of quiet fills with potential. The answers you seek often arrive not in thunderous declarations, but in gentle whispers, heard only in stillness. The wisdom of silence teaches that manifestation flows most freely when we cease striving and allow ourselves to be still. In quietude, your vibration naturally aligns with the frequency of your desires, drawing them to you with effortless grace. Ancient practice. Sit in complete silence for several minutes each day. Rather than viewing this as empty time, recognize it as communion with Source. Notice how answers and insights arise more clearly in these moments of quiet connection. Let stillness become your teacher, and watch how the universe begins to speak to you in ever more gentle and profound ways. Chapter 24. The Bridge Between Worlds. In the silence of night, Lloyd discovered a sacred truth. As moonlight painted shadows across his bedroom walls, vivid dreams visited him, not mere fantasies, but crystalline messages from the infinite. Night after night, these dreams whispered guidance that shaped his waking hours. One evening, Lloyd dreamed of a crimson door on an unfamiliar street. The next morning, while walking his usual route to work, an inexplicable urge compelled him to turn down an alley he had never noticed before. There stood the same door from his dream, leading to a workshop where he would later meet his greatest mentor. This alignment between inner vision and outer reality reveals a fundamental truth. Dreams are not escape, but entrance into deeper knowing. When you learn to listen to these midnight messages, you begin to understand that consciousness never truly sleeps. It simply shifts into a different frequency of conversation with the universe. The boundary between dreaming and waking is more permeable than most realize. Every night, as your conscious mind releases its grip on reality, your soul ventures into the vast library of infinite possibility. Here, in the space between sleeping and waking, you access blueprints of potential that await your recognition. Consider Marjorie, whose flower shop transformed the very language of color. In her dreams, she witnessed hues that had no earthly names, shades that danced between purple and possibility, tints that married sunshine to stillness. Instead of dismissing these visions as impossible, she began experimenting with her flowers, layering petals and leaves until she recreated the very colors that visited her in sleep. Soon, her arrangements became known throughout the city as living dreams. Customers would enter her shop and pause, overcome by the strange familiarity of colors they had never seen before, yet somehow recognized in their souls. Through her willingness to trust her dreams, Marjorie expanded the visible spectrum of beauty in the waking world. Your dreams are not random neural firings or meaningless mental movies. They are sacred transmissions, encoded messages from your higher self, offering guidance, wisdom, and creative solutions. When you honor these nighttime narratives as valid communications from the divine, you begin to notice how they weave seamlessly into your daily reality. The universe speaks in symbols and metaphors during your sleeping hours because this language bypasses the logical mind's resistance. In this state of receptivity, you access truths too subtle for daylight consciousness to grasp. Every dream is a seed planted in the fertile soil of possibility, waiting for your conscious attention to water it into manifestation. Practice. Before sleep tonight, place a journal beside your bed. When you wake, before opening your eyes or moving your body, Let your awareness rest gently on any dream fragments that linger. Write them down without attempting to analyze or interpret. Simply receive these messages with gratitude, knowing they are letters from the divine, written in the ink of infinite wisdom. Trust that their meaning will unfold naturally in perfect time, like a flower opening to morning light. Chapter 25. The Circle of Creation. Between waking and dreaming lies a sacred threshold where wisdom flows most freely. In the spaces between thought and manifestation, the universe reveals its deepest truths about the cyclical nature of all creation. Daisy discovered this truth during her morning meditations, when her hand would move in endless spirals across blank pages. At first, she thought she was merely doodling, passing time as she sought inner stillness. Yet as the spirals grew and intertwined, she began to perceive a profound message in their continuous flow. Each curve led naturally into the next, without beginning or end, mirroring the eternal dance of energy that composes all of existence. Through these simple spirals, the universe spoke to her of its most fundamental law. Energy cannot be destroyed, it only transforms. Every ending carries within it the seed of a new beginning. Every loss opens space for fresh creation. Every farewell beckons a future hello. This truth manifests itself in countless ways throughout creation. The fallen leaf becomes soil that nourishes new growth. The setting sun promises another dawn. Even our thoughts and emotions follow this pattern. Sadness transforms into wisdom, fear into courage, doubt into faith. Bruce, a humble potter in a small village, embodied this wisdom through his art. When vessels cracked or shattered in his kiln, he never saw failure. Instead, his eyes lit up with possibility as he gathered every fragment, every shard. These broken pieces became the raw material for his most stunning creations, intricate mosaics that transformed destruction into beauty. His workshop walls shimmered with these broken, made-whole masterpieces, each one telling a story of resurrection. Visitors often remarked that the mosaics held more beauty than the original vessels ever could have. Bruce would simply smile and say, "The breaking is part of the making." This principle extends into every aspect of existence. Your past experiences, even those that felt like shattering losses at the time, have not truly ended. They have simply changed form, becoming the foundation for who you are now. Each challenge overcome, each lesson learned, each love lost, all have been transmuted into wisdom, strength, and deeper capacity for joy. The universe never wastes a single moment of your journey. Every tear shed waters the garden of your becoming. Every disappointment carves space for greater fulfillment. Every version of you that you've outgrown has served as fertile soil for your current blossoming. Ancient practice. Find a quiet moment and close your eyes. Envision yourself as you were in past chapters of your life, the victories, the struggles, the moments of both light and shadow. Extend gratitude to each version of yourself, blessing them as essential steps in your evolution. Feel how their experiences flow into your present, not as burden, but as blessing, not as weight, but as wings. Let this recognition transform any lingering regret into appreciation for the perfect unfolding of your journey. Chapter 26. The Divine Humor. In the soft glow of morning light, Stella's tears fell upon her journal pages. She had spent countless hours documenting life's apparent contradictions, the way desires seem to manifest for others but dance just beyond her reach. The universe, she thought, must have a peculiar sense of humor. One day, as she watched a bird repeatedly fly into a window, trying to reach its own reflection, something shifted within her. A small chuckle escaped her lips, then another, until she found herself laughing fully at the absurdity. In that moment of release, she understood. The bird's confusion mirrored her own desperate seeking of what already existed within. The law reveals itself in such moments of divine comedy. When you release the weight of seriousness, the universe's perfect orchestration becomes clear. What appears as chaos often masks the most elegant design. Your struggles, like Stella's tears, are not punishment but invitation, an opportunity to see the lighter side of transformation. Floyd, who kept the marble floors of the city's grand concert hall gleaming, embodied this wisdom without knowing he taught it. Each evening, as musicians packed away their instruments, he would arrive with his mop and bucket. Whenever someone spilled a drink or tracked in mud, Floyd's laughter would echo through the empty hall. "Another chance to make it shine," he would say, his joy infectious to all who witnessed it. One night, a frustrated conductor asked Floyd why he seemed happier when his work increased. Floyd leaned on his mop, eyes twinkling, and shared, "When I fight the mess, it fights back harder. When I welcome it with a laugh, even the dirt seems to help me along." Soon after, the spills near his section grew fewer, as if the building itself responded to his lightness of being. The law of attraction flows most freely through the channel of joy. Your resistance creates friction, but your laughter smooths the path. What you fight persists. What you embrace transforms. Every seeming setback carries a hidden wink from the universe, asking if you're ready to join the cosmic dance. Sacred practice. When next an inconvenience appears in your path, pause. Rather than meeting it with frustration, let a gentle chuckle rise from your belly. Whisper, "Thank you, comedy of creation," and notice how the energy shifts. In this practice, you align with the universe's perpetual movement toward harmony, even when the notes seem discordant. Chapter 27. The Sacred Responsibility of Vision. In the depths of night, Opal would sketch visions of magnificent achievements in her journal, each page filled with dreams that stirred her soul. Yet when dawn arrived, she would close the book and whisper, "Who am I to hold such grand desires?" The golden threads of her imagination became tangled in the thorns of unworthiness, and her light dimmed beneath shadows of doubt. This tale speaks to the ancient truth that lies at the heart of creation. The universe bestows dreams as sacred seeds, not to test your worth, but to reveal your inherent divinity. When you imagine greatness, you are not stealing fire from heaven. You are recognizing the flame that already burns within. Your dreams arrive as trusted companions, not judgments of your current station. They whisper of capabilities already woven into your spiritual DNA, waiting to unfold through the alchemy of belief. Each vision that visits your consciousness comes as a divine appointment, carrying blueprints of possibility that seek expression through you. Warren, an inventor in a small village, understood this wisdom deeply. In his modest workshop, he treated every idea that sparkled in his mind as a living entity entrusted to his care. He knew that inspiration arrives not as a test of qualification, but as an invitation to stewardship. When others asked about his calm demeanor amid uncertain ventures, he would smile and say, "These ideas chose me as their guardian. My task is not to question why, but to nurture them faithfully." Where others saw half-formed notions, Warren recognized divine embryos requiring patience and protection. He never rushed his creations or abandoned them in moments of doubt. Instead, he tended to each inspiration as one would care for a sacred flame in an ancient temple, with reverence, dedication, and unwavering trust in its purpose. The law of attraction responds not to worthiness, but to willingness. It seeks those who will stand as faithful custodians of creative force, not those who beg for fortune's favor. When you embrace your dreams as holy assignments rather than distant possibilities, you shift from supplicant to steward. This transformation in perspective aligns you with the natural flow of manifestation. Your task is not to prove yourself deserving of your visions, but to recognize them as evidence of your inherent connection to divine creativity. Each dream that visits you arrives pre-approved by the universe, carrying within it all the resources required for its manifestation. Sacred practice. Choose one cherished idea that lives in your heart. For the next 7 days, tend to it as if you were its designated guardian. Write about it in your journal, speak to it with encouragement, and protect it from the winds of doubt. Trust that this idea chose you specifically for its manifestation, and your role is simply to nurture it with patience and devotion until it reveals its full glory. Chapter 28. The Reunion with Source. In the quiet hours before dawn, Eloise sat in her garden, seeking not escape but encounter. Day after day she had practiced meditation, hoping to find peace. Yet what awaited her transcended mere tranquility. As her breath deepened and her thoughts settled, something profound shifted within her awareness. The boundary between self and space began to dissolve, revealing not an emptiness, but a vast presence that had always been there. In this sacred revelation, Eloise discovered that what she had been seeking was not separate from the seeker. The universe was not a distant force to be reached, but the very essence of her being. Like a wave realizing it was ocean, she understood that separation had been merely an illusion maintained by thought. The ancient truth unfolds. Consciousness is not divided but whole, appearing as many while remaining forever one. Your perception of separation is the only distance between you and the infinite. When you release the belief in division, unity reveals itself as your natural state. Nelson, a seasoned sailor, found himself adrift in vast waters after a storm claimed his vessel. For days he searched the horizon for rescue, fear mounting with each sunset. Yet in his darkest moment, a profound understanding washed over him. The very ocean he feared was not his enemy but his home, not a barrier but the essence of life itself. In surrendering to this truth, he discovered that being lost was impossible when everything was connection. His tale illuminates the deeper teaching. What appears as separate is unified at its source. The universe does not exist apart from you, but as you. Every breath draws in the same life that animates the stars. Every heartbeat pulses with the rhythm that orchestrates galaxies. This awareness transforms manifestation from an act of reaching outward to one of allowing what already is to express through you. When you recognize your oneness with the infinite, creation becomes natural as breathing. There is no force needed, no struggle required. only the gentle relaxation into your true nature as the universe experiencing itself through human form. Sacred practice. Find a quiet moment and settle into stillness. Close your eyes and speak these words silently within. I and the universe are the same breath. Let this truth resonate through every cell of your being. Notice how boundaries begin to soften and separation dissolves into the recognition of eternal oneness. Chapter 29. The Legacy of Light. A young woman named Loretta spent her days pondering how she might leave her mark upon the world. Each morning she would gaze into her garden, watching how sunflowers turned their faces to follow light across the sky. In their gentle movement, she discovered the first whisper of wisdom, that to serve is not to strain, but to turn naturally toward illumination. The universe speaks through every moment of shared radiance. When you extend yourself in service without seeking recognition, you align with the highest frequency of creation. Like ripples in still water, each act of kindness creates waves that travel far beyond your sight, touching shores you may never know. Loretta began small, leaving anonymous notes of encouragement in library books. She tended to withering plants in public spaces. She listened deeply when others spoke, offering the gift of pure presence. Soon she noticed something extraordinary. Her own light grew brighter not from gathering, but from giving. The more freely she shared her inner radiance, the more abundantly it flowed through her. In an old workshop at the edge of town lived Harvey, a carpenter whose hands knew the language of wood. He built benches, simple, sturdy seats that he would place in spots where people gathered, near bus stops, in parks, beside walking paths. He never signed his work or sought credit. Yet years later, those benches remained, worn smooth by countless moments of rest, conversation, and connection. Harvey's benches became more than mere wood and nails. They transformed into vessels of shared humanity, places where strangers became friends, where tears were shed and laughter echoed, where stories were exchanged and hearts opened. Though the wood would eventually weather, the ripples of connection he created continued to expand through time, carried forward in the lives he touched without ever knowing. This is the sacred truth of service, that light shared multiplies rather than diminishes. When you give from the depths of your being without seeking return, you become a living channel for divine energy. Your presence becomes a blessing that extends far beyond the boundaries of what you can see or measure. The law of attraction responds not to the scale of your service, but to the purity of your intention. When you align yourself with the natural flow of giving, abundance rushes to meet you, not because you sought it, but because you have become one with the generous nature of the universe itself. Ancient practice. Sit quietly and place your hand over your heart. Breathe deeply and imagine your inner light growing stronger with each breath. Now, without planning or expectation, allow yourself to shine kindness into the world today. Do not wait for recognition or results. Trust that the universe will carry your light exactly where it needs to go. Remember, waves of impact extend invisibly, touching lives in ways you may never know. Chapter 30. The Choice of Divine. In the depths of an ancient garden, Joy discovered a peculiar truth while tending to flowers that seemed to bloom according to her thoughts. Each morning, as she faced countless small decisions, which beds to water first, which blossoms to trim, which seeds to plant, she noticed a pattern emerging in the garden's response. When she chose from love rather than duty, the flowers grew with unprecedented vigor, as if nature itself celebrated her alignment with divine will. The teaching reveals itself. Every choice you make is the universe expressing itself through you. When you choose from love, you participate in the grand dance of creation. Your free will is not separate from divine will. It is the very instrument through which the infinite expresses its wisdom. Each decision point stands as a sacred threshold where human meets divine. The universe does not dictate but invites, offering countless moments where your choice becomes its voice. In choosing love, you allow the highest wisdom to flow through you unimpeded. Martin, a poet in a distant village, spent years crafting verses until one day, setting his pen to paper, he felt something shift. The words that emerged were not his alone. They seemed to flow from an eternal source, using his hand as their instrument. In that moment, he understood that his creativity had always been partnership with the divine. His stories touched hearts, not because he wrote them, but because he allowed himself to be written through. The poet's tale illuminates the truth. You are not merely making choices. You are choosing in concert with the infinite. Each decision aligned with love amplifies the universe's intention for harmony. When you select the path of joy, compassion, or growth, you mirror the divine choosing itself through you. This awareness transforms every crossroad into communion. The simple act of choosing becomes prayer in motion, each decision a thread in the cosmic tapestry. You are not alone in your choices. You are the universe experiencing itself through the miracle of free will. Your legacy flows from this sacred partnership. As you choose love consistently, you become a living testament to divine collaboration. Each choice ripples outward, touching lives in ways you may never witness. Like Martin's poetry, your decisions become vessels for grace, carrying light far beyond your immediate horizon. Practice choosing joy intentionally whenever crossroads appear, trusting every decision made in love is sacred partnership. Chapter 31. The River That Never Ends. In the gentle curve of the river bank, Cora discovered a truth as ancient as water itself. Day after day she watched the river's endless dance, swelling with rain, receding in drought, yet always moving, always giving. The river never hoarded its bounty, never feared emptiness. Its power lay not in what it held, but in how freely it flowed. The universe speaks through such flowing wisdom. Like the river, abundance moves through your life not as a finite resource to be captured and stored, but as an eternal current asking only for your willingness to participate in its motion. When you grasp at prosperity, it slips through your fingers like water. But when you open your hands in trust, it flows through you with grace. The river teaches that scarcity is an illusion born of stillness. Movement is the mother of plenty. Every drop given returns multiplied, for the universe delights in circulation. Your task is not to collect, but to conduct, to become a channel through which blessings flow naturally, touching all they meet. Everett understood this principle in his craft of illumination. In his small workshop, surrounded by glass and metal, he crafted not just lamps, but vessels of understanding. "I used to work with trembling hands," he would say, afraid that one wrong move would shatter everything. But then I realized Light doesn't fear darkness. It simply shines. His greatest creations emerged when he stopped struggling against shadow and learned to trust his inner radiance. Like Everett, you are called to recognize your own light, not as something to protect, but as a gift meant to pour forth. The universe has placed within you a wellspring of infinite potential, waiting only for your permission to flow. Every time you choose trust over fear, generosity over gripping, you align with this divine current. Practice. As you sit quietly, place your attention on your breath. Feel each inhale as receiving the universe's endless gifts, and each exhale as your offering back to life's great river. Notice how giving and receiving become one continuous movement, like the water's eternal dance. In this gentle rhythm, you'll discover that abundance isn't something to achieve. It's something you already are. Chapter 32. The Sound of Becoming. Millie sat beneath a bridge listening to echoes and realized they responded with perfect timing to her voice, the universe answering instantly in reflection. The wisdom hidden within those reverberations whispers a truth as old as creation itself. Every vibration you release into the cosmos begins its transformative work before your conscious mind can trace its path. Your thoughts, feelings, and spoken words are not merely expressions cast into emptiness. They are living architectures of energy, already building bridges between what is and what shall be. The universe, in its infinite intelligence, does not require time to process your intentions. The moment you speak, it speaks. The instant you feel, it feels. The second you believe, it believes. This sacred dialogue flows without pause or hesitation. Like Millie beneath her bridge, you are eternally engaged in conversation with the infinite. Each thought ripples outward, touching the edges of possibility, while simultaneously folding back to embrace you with its reflection. This is not manifestation delayed. It is creation in continuous motion. Randall's story illuminates this principle through the lens of music. As a choir director, he witnessed a miracle that defied conventional wisdom. Perfect harmony arising spontaneously, without rehearsal. His singers, trusting the invisible pulse that connected them, discovered that unity requires not practice, but presence. They aligned with a rhythm that existed before the first note was sung. This same principle guides your relationship with universal law. You need not wait for proof before trusting in the echo. The response begins in the same breath as your call. When you align your intention with the natural flow of creation, surrendering to its perfect timing while maintaining unwavering faith, you become both the music and the musician. The universe matches your frequency with flawless precision. It neither judges nor delays. It simply reflects, amplifies, and returns. Your role is not to force the echo, but to sing your truth with such clarity that harmony becomes inevitable. Like Randall's choir, when you trust the unseen connection between your desire and its fulfillment, manifestation unfolds as naturally as breath. Practice speaking gently to the air each morning, as if addressing a dear friend, articulating gratitude for what is unfolding, then pause to let the silence hum its reply. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. The eternal dance between soul and universe continues long after these pages find rest. You have not merely read wisdom, you have remembered what your spirit always knew. Through each chapter, through every parable and practice, the law of attraction has awakened within you not as distant theory, but as living truth. The universe speaks through synchronicity, through the quiet moments when your heart knows without doubt, through the seemingly random alignments that feel like cosmic winks. These are not coincidences but confirmations, evidence that you have remembered your role as conscious co-creator. Each teaching now vibrates within your cells, transforming from words into wisdom, from concept into creative force. The practice of presence, the power of gratitude, the magnetic pull of joy, these are not techniques to master, but truths to embody. They are the natural expression of your divine nature, the language you were born speaking. You stand now at the threshold of conscious creation, understanding that every thought, every feeling, every choice sends ripples through the infinite field of possibility. The law of attraction flows through you as naturally as breath, as consistently as your heartbeat. It is not a force to control, but a dance to join, a song to sing, a love affair with existence itself. Remember, you were not drawn to these teachings by chance. The universe recognized itself in you and offered these words as mirrors, reflecting back your own inherent wisdom. You are the chosen vessel through which creation expands, through which love multiplies, through which light increases. Let each dawn remind you of this truth. You are the living embodiment of the law of attraction, eternally engaged in the sacred dialogue between finite and infinite, between form and formless, between the seen and the unseen.
If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.